Hi everyone, this is Dora. I just wanted to do a little housekeeping before we get to the episode. We realized that our lines didn't include racism and sexism when they should. Unfortunately, we recorded several sessions without the correct lines, so you'll probably be hearing this message on a few episodes before we've gotten it corrected. Anyway, now that that's out of the way, enjoy the show.
Hi folks! Welcome to Follow the Leader, a podcast focused on telling character-driven stories through the use of GM-less tabletop games where we can all take the lead. You can find us on Twitter at FTLcast. Today we're playing The Sundered Land by D. Vincent Baker. For those of you who are new to this game, here are the basics. The Sundered Land is a series of 5 single-page games, plus 2 supplements set in the sword and sorcery ruins of the future. The games are mutually compatible and overlapping, but self-contained. Each game plays in 20 to 60 minutes. You can play them in whatever order you like. You can bring the character from one game into the next or create a new character whenever you like. I'm Kales, and you can find me on Twitter at Citadel of Swords, and my pronouns are they, them. Playing with me today we have...
Hi, I'm Jade. You can find me on Twitter at Jade Oxford Rose, and my pronouns are they, them.
I'm Alix. You can find me on Twitter at Kismet Nemesis, and my pronouns are also they, them.
And I'm Dora. You can find me on Twitter at HarpyDora, and my pronouns are also they, them.
A bunch of they, thems today.
Yep.
I mean, that's basically every recording, though.
True. Our lines, things we absolutely do not want to see, are homophobia and transphobia, violence against children, sexual assault, domestic or intimate partner violence, attacks by dogs, and unwanted pregnancy. Our veils, things we're fine with addressing but will just fade to black on, are steamy situations or in graphic descriptions of bodily harm. Now that we've got all that, let's get started with this game that we've never played before.
Yeah.
This is going to be a fun experiment.
All right.
All about trying new things.
So, I think the easiest thing to do, let's go ahead and introduce our characters first. Even though it says we can create new characters, we're still just using the same characters, and then I think we can come up with blurbs about the different games.
Jade, why don't you go first, because you're at the top of the list.
Okay. I'm going to be playing Tala, uses they, them pronouns. In this sort of post-apocalyptic setting that we have, and we're imagining it kind of like more greenery and vines rather than like desert wastelands. They're pretty useful because they're a scout and kind of a hunter-gatherer. They know the land, they know the trails, they're good at surviving off it. Like they're young, they're like in their mid to late 20s, and they've only known this world, and as such they're pretty good at making their way around in it and very comfortable. They're a cheerful, happy type, sweetheart, tall, heavy, and very softly spoken. Think like Chinpo from Mulan, but like looking like she's a model called Paxashia, so soft, very soft features, long hair that's worn back in a bunch of braids to keep it off their face. And yeah, that's them.
All right, and I'm playing Yvaine, who is going to be Tala's sister, right?
Mm-hmm.
She uses she, her pronouns. She likes to knit and to cook. She's like a very motherly type, but she's very young. And even though Tala is the older sibling, Yvaine is always like trying to take care of them. And I face cast her as Hasul from Luna, so she has like long dark hair, she's Korean, has sort of not really bird-like features, but like almost bird-like features.
I'll be playing Marius. They use they, them pronouns, and in this setting, they're a refugee of the Mage Enclave at Anukar, which they're trying to escape with the last tome of knowledge from the Enclave. We'll find out what happened to the Enclave in play, I think, but as usual, they're too focused on study and the pursuit of knowledge to be a nice person, so they're kind of an accidental jerk a lot of the time.
I love them.
I love them a lot. And I'll be playing Sable, who uses he or they pronouns, but they'll probably be using mostly they pronouns for this game. Sable is a veteran of of a recent war, or maybe not so recent war. It's kind of hard to tell how old they actually are, because they talk about the time pre-apocalypse like they were there. But that's impossible, right? They are lawful. They're not. They're constantly trying their best, but their best is just not really very good. They have very black and white morals, but they try. The sort of face claim I came up with last night as I was going to sleep was Robin Wright in like older Robin Wright, but with like dark red hair.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I've been
oh my gosh.
I've been like trying to figure out what their face claim was for days, and it finally came to me. I was like, Robin Wright, obviously, of course.
Obviously.
I'll have to figure out a face claim for Marius one of these days.
But what do they look like? What do they look like generally?
Oh, they're generally short, probably like 5'4", 5'5", willowy, your typical academic sort of slender, with long hair that's usually kept in a braid at all times.
How old is Marius? Like, because if Tala's like in their mid to late 20s, Yvaine is younger than them.
Mm-hmm.
Marius is in their 30s, like their early to mid 30s.
Cool.
I think Yvaine is at most 22.
Oh, bless.
Baby.
Sable probably looks like they're in their late 40s, early 50s, but who knows if that's how old they actually are, right? And they're sure not telling.
Yeah,
So
and
that's going to be the adult when we need an adult.
Yeah, and I think we already talked a little bit about it, but the world that we're playing in we're probably about 150 years or so post the apocalypse, and we decided to go with completely overgrown with greenery as opposed to desert wasteland. So we liked the image a lot of like ruins that are overgrown with like ivy or kudzu and stuff like that.
So the game suggests, like in the document, that you could start. Did we say we were going to start with the original Sundered Land, a doomed pilgrim, and then go from there?
Yeah.
I know we discussed before play.
Yeah, we were gonna do the doomed pilgrim, and then we were gonna see where we went from there, probably following some of the suggestions at the back of the pamphlet. But Kales in the chat is asking how we feel about horror elements, and I think that's a discussion worth having.
Yeah. I have this image in my head of a possible hazard, or enemy, I guess, that I could bring in, but it's a little bit creepy and not super body horror-y, but like definitely not human. And so I was just like, are we cool with that?
I'm cool with it.
Yeah, I mean, we've generally said that our rating that we've aimed for is PG-13-ish, with a couple of characters trying to push that rating towards more M/R. I say that very aware where I fall in on that category of characters that do that. But yeah, like, I think you can do like horror and unsettling things, like genre-wise, without sort of going too descriptive. So I'm definitely down for spoopy, basically.
Oh, absolutely.
Spoopy and horror and the terrors. The night is dark and full of terrors. What's up?
Yep.
George R. Martin.
Yep. So,
Holla.
I think I think we're all on the same page with that. So we were going to do Doomed Pilgrim and see where we went from there, but I think that depending on how that goes, we'll probably just end up following the suggestions at the back of the pamphlet as far as stringing games together. So the first game that we wanted to play out of the group of games is a Doomed Pilgrim in the Ruins of the Future, And the basic concept of that game is there is one person who plays the quote-unquote doomed pilgrim, who's somebody who's trying to get from one place to another by traversing this post-apocalyptic land. And everybody else basically plays the world around them, and the players, the doomed pilgrim's goal is to get from point A to point B. The players who are the world, their goal is to do everything to stop them. And so it's kind of a conversation where the doomed pilgrim makes a statement and asks a question, and then the first of the other players to speak up is the answer that the doomed pilgrim takes. So, for example, one of the questions that I could ask is, something warns me of an approaching danger. What warns me? And then somebody else could answer, you hear claw scratching in the distance, or something like that. And then that's the sort of conversation that the game takes.
Cool. So Marius is going to be our pilgrim, right?
Yes, and they are trying to get from the Mage Enclave to safety, which, what do we want to define as, like, the end goal? Do we want to say that they're running to a distant city?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I mean, the way that it suggests the play together, the next one would be caravan guards, if we wanted to go with that. So I like the idea that that's where Marius is going, and then if, surviving all of that, they might cross paths with the others who are traveling as a group.
That sounds fantastic. Cool. Alright, so I've been traveling from the ruins of the Mage Enclave of Anukar for at least a week. I'm tired and I'm afraid, and the game suggests choosing two things that I have, and I have wealth hidden in my clothing in the form of the tome that I'm carrying, and I have the summoning name of a ghost burned into my memory. So that's some of the knowledge that I carry I have in my head.
This can only go well.
Yes, obviously. And so I'm walking through, let's say, the Jagged Lands. Something warns me of an approaching danger. What warns me?
There's the sound of a bird cawing overhead.
I look around and I try to find the direction that the bird came from. Can I?
No.
All right. Well, I push forward in the direction that I've chosen, and I try to peer through the vine-choked, jagged rocks. What do I see?
I think you see there's too many birds for you to really make it out, but you can tell that something has died just up ahead, and all the birds are feasting on it.
Oh, dang. As I approach, I try to get a better look at the carcass to see what killed it. Can I make out any signs of how this creature died?
You see long claw marks that are too big to belong to any of the birds.
Okay, that doesn't sound encouraging at all.
I'm getting right into it.
Oh yeah. So I think I'm going to backtrack a little to back away from this carcass, because whatever killed it is probably still around, and I'm going to try to swing wide around this area. But how unforgiving is the terrain?
The vines are covered in thorns that catch and pull at your clothing, and small cuts appear where they catch on you, and it's hard going and it's slow, and you have to unhook the thorns from yourself to be able to get going further.
So, kind of scratched up and a little bloody, I make it to an outcropping where I can kind of get a better view. Can I see the creature that killed that animal the birds are feasting on?
I think you can see something big, like the size of a tiger or something, stalking through all of the jagged rocks. But you're not sure if you're pretty sure that it's that thing, but it could also just be shadows shifting.
Oh boy. Okay, so I continue to try to swing wide around that area, but I try to keep my eye on the moving shadows. Can I?
No.
Crap. Okay, so I try to get through an area that maybe looks a little more clear. Does being in the open put me in more danger?
Yes, because you can see the creature. Like if you're in a clear area, you can see the creature like waiting at the edge.
What does it look like?
I'm imagining at least partially like it's something like big and on more than 2 legs and like fluffy, but does anybody else have like design elements they want to add to this creature?
Big, long teeth, like saber-toothed tiger teeth coming out of its jaw.
Its fur is patchy and mottled, and you think it's one thing, but then it shifts its muscles and you see like different markings, and it's like someone dreamed of a whole bunch of different big cats and it got smushed together, and this was born of it.
Oh, nice.
It does have the tiniest little meow, though.
Oh my gosh.
I'm hearing someone's cat in the background.
Yeah, that's little butt.
And I'm just like, let's just work this in. Let's just work this in. Fully.
I think it should have the, big, like, reflective, like, green-yellow cat eyes as well.
Yeah, so basically you're describing little bit to me.
Except bigger.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I lock eyes with the creature. Does it show any sign of sentience?
Yes, it blinks at you slowly, watching you.
I sort of raise one hand as I look at it and say, I'm just a traveler passing through. I am not nearly so good prey as what you've left to the birds. I just want to get to my destination. What does the creature do?
I think it says, what do you have to offer me?
Ooh, that's good.
In a tiny little cat voice.
Maybe it doesn't even say it out loud, or I don't know. You just like,
you hear a voice in your mind.
I love it.
You just know.
And you're also not sure, like, you've been traveling a while. Like, maybe this thing is speaking to you, but maybe you're just like, you've just been out there too long,
Yeah. I can offer you knowledge. If you like, I can share the name of a ghost that you can use to draw it to you.
I think you hear it chuckle. And it settles down slightly. It's like, Tell me something interesting.
I can tell you the story of how this place came to be. Does that interest you?
Yes.
I think I pause and I consider what version to tell, and I tell the version that speaks of the mages of Anukar and how they tried to fight a darkness that was overtaking the land in the form of great machines, and they tried to fight it with the land around them, and they weren't able to succeed, but the land had responded to their call, and that's why everything is overgrown the way that it is. Does this satisfy the creature?
So it was the land that tore up the moss and made the jagged rocks and thorns harsh beneath my feet.
The machines ripped up the land, but the land covered itself in defense. And I gesture to the thorny vines, and I say, this is the way the land tried to defend itself.
With the mage's help?
Yes.
If you're a mage and your people caused this, can you not undo it?
I'm the last mage of Anukar. I can only do so much.
I think the creature laughs at that.
Is it the kind of laugh that you make before you try to hit somebody?
It's hard to tell. It's sort of mocking, but it's not quite hitting that mark.
please let me pass, and if I make it where I'm going and I share this knowledge, there will be more mages, and we can try to repair the damages that were done in the past.
Is that a promise you can make?
I can't make that I'll survive, but if I do, I can promise that I will share the knowledge, and those I share it with, I will make them promise to help. And I think I just sort of start shifting to the side a little bit as slowly as I can manage. Does the creature notice?
No. And as you move, you can see which you couldn't see before, one of the creature's eyes has less luster than the other is clouded over.
If I ran, could I outrun the creature?
Is, like, for now an answer?
Yep.
Yeah, for a while.
Yeah.
Please just let me pass. That's all I ask.
I think you hear the creature sort of go in the back of your head. Go while I still am of the inclination to let you.
And I do not need to be told twice. I am off like a shot. What sort of terrain awaits me on the other side of the clearing?
I think it's a pile of, I say a pile, it's like rocks that you have to climb. Like, it's like not quite a sheer cliff, but it's like you have to, it's this steep incline of more of these jagged rocks. There's not as much greenery here, but it's going to be hard going to climb up it.
All right. I scramble up as best I can, but I know that I'm slowed by already being bleeding, and I know the rocks will cut my hands, but there's no other way. When I get to the top of this rocky incline, what do I see?
I think you see a lot more of the birds from before, and you found in the sort of like small valley in front of you, you found where a lot of them nest, and you know you're going to have to make your way like very close to those nests to go forward.
As I pick my way towards the nests, do the birds give any indication that they see me or care?
No.
I decide to go ahead and take the direct route this time instead of swinging wide, and I pick my way through the nests, taking care not to disturb them. Am I successful?
No, I think you accidentally step on a nest that was small enough that you didn't quite see it, and you attract the attention of just one of the birds, and it caws at you.
Is the bird large enough to do me harm?
Yeah.
Well, so far running has worked well for me, since I've already attracted the attention of this bird, and since I'm already bleeding, I decide to make a run for the other side of this nesting ground. Can I get away without the birds attacking?
Yes.
Okay. So I make it to the other side, and I look off into the distance. Can I see some place that looks safe to be heading towards?
Yes, I think you can see up ahead the glimmer of a fire flickering in the approaching dusk, and it's small enough and contained enough to be that someone has made it. It's not a naturally occurring flame.
Okay. And what lies between me and my safety?
Running water.
I was just about to say that.
All right, so I make my way to this running water, and how deep is it? How quickly does it run?
Deep enough you have to swim. Fast enough that it will be hard work, but not impossible. And it's very cold.
Yeah, you're lucky that it hasn't rained recently.
Oh, this is bad because
You have a book.
I have a book.
Mhm.
Oh no. Is there anything that I could try to wrap the book in? Any sort of leaves or foliage large enough that I could try to make a like a pack for the book.
Have you just been carrying the book in your hands?
I've been carrying the book in my robes, but I've been clutching it close because it's precious.
I think nearby the water is a large plant with waxy leaves that could work if you had something to bind it.
What were the nests made out of that I passed through? Were there any sort of long supple things in the nesting material that I noticed?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a very sort of viney place, right? But there's lots of vines that you could wrap stuff up in, but like we said before, there are thorns on them, so you're going to have to contend with that.
Okay. I set to stripping a vine of its thorns and trying to make it such that I can use it to bind the pack that I'll make for the book. Am I able to tear the vines with my hands, or do I need to find some sort of implement to cut them?
I think the vines are weak enough because they have the thorns to protect them. They don't need to be super hardy. So as long as you watch for the thorns, you can rip up the vines pretty easily. But by the time you're done dealing with that, night has totally fallen.
Oh, shit. Okay. Do I still see the glimmer of the campfire from where I'm at?
Yes.
All right. Then we're gonna do this. So I bind up my book, and I try to make sure it's as tight as I can, and I put it back in my robes, and I start wading out into the water. Am I swept away?
No, but the water is so cold that it's hard to breathe for a moment, and you have to wait, moving as much as you can before you can gather enough of yourself to start to swim, and you are going to be soaked by the time you get out the other side. There is no part of you that's going to be dry. The book might be okay.
Yeah.
That's all right. The book is what matters. I've got to get this knowledge safely to somewhere where it can continue to be studied, and so I start swimming as hard as I can. Do I make it to the other side?
Yes.
Okay. So I am soaked, and I am shivering, and I have very little strength left, and I'm on the other side of the river, and I don't even really have the wherewithal to check the book. I'm not sure I want to until I can get to safety, because they have a fire. Maybe I can use that to dry the book out if something has happened to it. And I start walking. Do I notice anything following me?
No.
All right. And I keep pushing forward. Do I hear anything out of the ordinary?
I think what you can hear that's out of the ordinary is people talking and laughing and sounding more cheerful than anything you've heard in a long time.
In that case, if it's all right with you, I will say that Marius stumbles into the light of the campfire and promptly falls the fuck over and passes out.
Oh, buddy.
Oh.
Buddy.
Hey, y'all did this to them, so...
No, the world did this. The world did this.
Uh-huh.
It's called nighttime. Like, it just happens like this.
It's fine. It'll be fine.
Is this a good place to end this one, or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that is. So...
All right.
So we move on to the caravan guards and the ruins of the future.
Would it make sense here to move to Night Watch?
Yeah, sure.
Because we're there.
Yeah, no, agreed. I'm down. Night watch in the ruins of the future. setting the stage as per the text. All the characters are in a hazardous place at night, keeping watch, talking together and sharing stories of their pasts. Do we have fire? Must we speak softly or may we speak out aloud? Do we know who our enemy is and where, or do we keep watch against uncertain dangers? Are we on our own, or do we keep watch over others sleeping? So we've already established that we have fire and that we can speak aloud. So do we know who/what our enemy is and where, or are we keeping watch against uncertain dangers?
I think based on at least what we established in the previous game, I think it's more uncertain dangers than a specific...
Yeah, I think there's a chance that, like, anything could come out of...
Yeah.
And we don't know what it could be.
And is it just, I suppose now, the four of us, there, or are there people with us that are sleeping? Is it like a group that we're escorting, or is it just us?
I could go either way, though. I'm definitely leaning just us.
I'm heavily leaning just us.
Sure.
Okay.
I'm happy with that. So we've already said what our characters look like. So that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
So who's going to be the first night player?
I was going to suggest it be, like, the night player's character isn't there, right?
They're the one that prompts the stories.
We take turns being the night player.
Yeah, or their character won't really, I mean...
Yeah, the night player is
it's just the one who asks the questions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to start as the night player then, Dora, as Marius is sort of new to the group, as it were?
And also
they've
passed
just
out.
Yeah, we need to wake you up.
Yeah.
And like...
Mm-hmm. But it could also work if one of us is like, I believe you are, like, one of the mages,
That's
right?
true.
Yeah.
That's true.
How do we wake Marius up?
Oh, I think... Go ahead, Jade.
I was just going to say, I think the second that this poor person, like, walks into the light of our campfire and passes the fuck out, Tala is literally just, like, up on their feet, just like, oh no,
Yeah.
and, like, gathers them up and literally, like, picks them up and brings them over to the fire and sort of, like, okay, Yvaine, and just sort of, like, gets... like starts pulling off like the wet outer robe and just like getting a blanket and just like
Yeah.
I think
rubbing the
Yvaine,
arms.
yeah, Yvaine, like, as soon as Marius showed up, was like, just like very calmly got up and went and got like warm clothes and already has them ready by the time Tala goes. Yvaine.
Of course.
Sable, it just sort of leans on their staff and sighs.
Thanks for nothing.
I think Marius isn't passed out for long, but like as they're being as their clothes are being taken off in favor of dry clothes, they're like, no, you can't take that. Please don't take that.
Don't worry, we're just going to put them over here, all right? You're going to get hypothermia. Okay?
And Marius nods, but like is always keeping an eye on the damp pile of clothes.
Mm-hmm. I'm just going to put them next to the fire so they dry off, all right?
All right.
Is the bundle of leaves that holds the book visible?
Yeah, it's in like an inside pocket, so it's one of those things where it's like
It's small.
It's not small. I'm imagining like these robes were meant for carrying books, so like there's like a big like Junko jean size pocket on the inside.
Are we talking like...
I've just been imagining this giant tome that you've been
Yeah, no.
No, I'm imagining it like, a small to medium sized college textbook, basically.
I was gonna say, I was imagining like a player's handbook but thicker.
Yeah.
Just like
I've
A4 size but thicker.
I've been imagining
that was how I started, but after inside pocket I'm like, so like sort of just over A4 size but thick.
Yeah,
I've
exactly.
been imagining,
Don't say that.
I don't even have a reference point for how big this
Like
book
Mickey
is.
like Mickey Mouse in The Sorcerer's Apprentice, like big enough to sit on kind of thing if it was
Yes.
opened and you were Mickey Mouse.
Yes, like your arms like holding it is a challenge. That's what I've been imagining.
I guess, but it's small enough to be hidden.
There we go. But
Yeah.
cool. So now we have a frame of reference for this like telephone book / college textbook.
An
kind of
hour
size.
later, we have a frame of reference for this book.
We had to play to find out what book it was.
That's fair.
No, because if it was going to be noticeable, I wanted Sable to notice it. But if it's hidden...
I think, well, like, if Tala took off the outer coat, like, they would have found it.
Yeah.
Just, like, and pulled it out, just, like, because it's a separate thing. And just, like, rested it separately from the clothes. Because the clothes aren't going to dry if there's something big in the pocket. Oh. So it's, like, there.
Also, the new clothes that Yvaine gives you are ones that she knitted herself.
Aww.
Oh,
She's a good.
bless her.
Okay, so who wants to prompt a story?
I mean, I can just be like, I believe that you are one of the mages of Anukar, aren't you?
Yes, I am, or, well, I am, but Anukar is no more, so perhaps I am now just a mage.
You're still of Anukar, even if Anukar no longer exists. That doesn't change.
I suppose you're right, but it also doesn't change the fact that Anukar is no more, and I am the last of the mages from there, and my package is the last of the knowledge that we have.
What happened to Anukar?
We were overrun. There was an army, and we had no idea. We had so little warning. They struck in the night, and I think they may have been some of the worshippers of the god of the dead. I
thought magic worked against most things.
Magic does work, but if we don't know, then how can we use our magic? I believe they were worshippers of Ningal, but they had magic of their own. I think they had her protection, and there was so little we could do. We had so little time. We couldn't prepare, and all of my compatriots are dead.
How is it that you escaped?
My mentor chose to give her life for mine. She was able to give me this book, and she was able to cast an illusion upon me so I could slip out just before she was struck down.
Yeah, Yvaine, like, at that, like, you know, doesn't start crying, but, like, gets, like, really sad and, like, takes Marius's hand and just says, I'm so sorry for your loss.
Thank you. I'm just trying to get to one of the cities so I can make sure this knowledge doesn't die with me. And that's all I want. May I travel with you? I don't care where you're going as long as there are other people.
I think, I mean, we can take them, right?
Tala just looks at Sable. Like, can
Sable?
we?
Sable's just like, okay, yeah.
Sable, they could probably teach us magic. Can you?
If you have the aptitude and the inclination, I can teach you anything that I know.
Magic is a dangerous tool to have.
So's a knife if you hold it wrong.
I'm not saying you shouldn't learn it. I'm saying you should know what you're getting into.
I always know what I'm doing.
Just don't grab the pointy bit.
I don't think magic has a pointy bit.
I bet it does.
Magic is an energy, and you shape it with your mind and your hands.
So it can totally have a pointy bit.
I'm not going to make a pointy bit.
Good.
Could we use magic to feed people, or to create warmth without fire, or to heal people, or to make ruined buildings whole again?
magic can do some of those things. And some of those things magic has not been used for yet, but that was something that my fellow mages were striving toward, is being able to heal the damages that the machines did so long ago, and to ask the land to heal itself.
You can talk to the land.
I can't.
I don't think you're telling the whole truth.
All right, let me roll.
Some dice.
So, for those of you who don't have the rules in front of him, there's a section in the Night Watch that says, at any point in the story, any player at all may choose to imagine that the one speaking isn't telling the whole truth. Say so. When this happens, the player speaking rolls 2 dice. On a 2 to 5, you might be overstating your role or accomplishments. On a 6 to 8, you might be forgetting interesting details. And on a 9 to 12, you might be holding back something delicate, embarrassing, incriminating, improper, or inexplicable.
All right. So I rolled a 7, and so that means that I might be forgetting interesting details, and so I think I just sort of swallow a little, and I said, well, it's a difficult thing, and I'm well versed in the magical arts, versed enough that I have the summoning name of a ghost, but I suppose with the knowledge in the book I could work it out, but not now.
I think Yvaine's Yvaine hasn't stopped holding Marius's hand, and her grip tightens and she looks at you very seriously and she says, but what cost does magic come with? At what cost can you work all of these miracles?
Magic is an energy, and if you do not know how to shape it, the magic will shape you instead.
Yvaine nods and lets go of their hand.
And I think I'm going to transition to being the night player, and I am going to look at Sable, and I am going to also pull up my name generator because I want to ask a question.
What's a good name for my OC, Sable?
No. So, I think Marius looks at Sable and says, you look to be one of the acolytes of Aphiel, are you?
Not anymore. Then they look away.
Tala leans in. Who's Aphiel? Aphiel? Aphiel?
I think I read that name once, but I don't remember where.
I don't think Sable's telling the whole truth.
Oh, great. Okay. Got over this already. Who is Aphiel? Who are you imagining?
Oh, I wasn't imagining anything. I just needed a name to
nice.
That made it sound interesting. So it's entirely up to you who Aphiel is. I just wanted to give Sable something cool to have potentially been a part of.
Okay, great. So I also rolled a 7, which means I'm forgetting interesting details. And I think that the thing that Sable is forgetting is that, and I don't know if they realize this, I don't think that they're consciously going to realize this, but I think the thing that they're forgetting is that they still are.
Oh man. Oh, that's good.
They think they got out, and they didn't. Okay, now I need to go to a generator. Hold on.
I just have the Danchan generator up in another tab these days.
I love it. It broke the other day, and I was so upset. It just stopped working.
Oh man.
So I think we can continue from that point as someone. I don't think Sable's going to talk about this on their own. So someone's got to nudge them.
Yeah, Tala's like, but what is that? Who is that? What is it? Is it a person? Is it a god?
Tala, don't be rude.
What? I'm awesome.
No, it's all right. It was going to Oh, we were going to talk about it eventually. They once were no one major. Once they were a minor god of
A god?
yes. I don't follow gods anymore.
What do you follow?
The path to safety, to something better than this.
I can get behind that.
I can rely on my own instincts far more reliably than I can rely on any god.
That's spoken like a true former acolyte. Huh.
Did the god hurt you?
No, they were... I never met them. None of us ever did. But no, they never hurt us.
I don't think you're telling the whole truth.
Oh.
We're gonna be doing a lot of this.
It's so good.
It is really good. Oh shit, I should be keeping the Sundered Land open, not the dock open. 9 to 12. Anna, you might be
This was the result I was hoping for.
Yeah.
Sable fucked their god.
Oh, that's so good.
I stand by what I just said in the chat, which is we have to play Divine Mundane after this.
We will.
Yes.
We will. But they're definitely not going to talk about that.
Do they blush?
What?
I
What?
said, do they blush?
Oh, yeah, do they?
Faintly, yes.
Then Tala goes, ooh.
Say nothing.
Didn't say anything, just went, ooh.
They're that's what they say, and then they're blushing more.
Yeah, I think Marius thinks to themselves that Sable smells strongly of Aphiel, but does not say anything.
Well, I think Yvaine is like vaguely embarrassed by all of this as well. And she says, well, how long ago was that? A long time ago, right?
Yeah. A really long time ago.
Because you're pretty old now. I mean, not that you're, like, old, but...
They laugh, and it's not unkind.
Mm-hmm.
I understand.
How long have you been traveling together?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Tala and Yvaine were on their own for a while before Sable. Does that sound right to you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see.
I think they attach themselves to Sable like limpets. And Sable just hasn't bothered to shake them off because traveling in a group is smarter than traveling alone.
That sounds fair.
And I have been traveling our whole lives.
Huh.
Well, at least as long as I can remember. They're older than me, if you can believe it.
I am a lot bigger. No, I don't really remember a time when we weren't. I remember Yvaine being a baby, but I don't remember not moving.
When you were with Aphiel, did you have a home?
Yeah, I did. I don't think I'm ever going to get that back.
And that we are alike. You know what? I don't think our characters actually introduced each other. So...
No.
No. We're sharing deep personal secrets about ourselves and we don't know each other's names.
Well, I mean, that could have happened, you know?
It could happen off screen, yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think Yvaine wants to, like rest her head on Tala's shoulder.
Aww.
She's sad. Do we want to move on to a different story or another game, or?
We should move on to a different story, because I want to hear from Yvaine and Tala. That it prompts.
Well, they have them already.
What? I know, but I don't know how to... I'm trying to think about how to fill in these blanks, and I'm blanking.
That's okay. That happens. You can take your time.
It also doesn't have to be me.
That's true.
So Marius turns to Tala. If you've been moving your whole life, does that mean you're a nomad of Arkala?
I don't... And Tala looks to Yvaine because, well, Yvaine might have a thing with gods. Tala does not. Tala doesn't hold with any of that.
I think we might have been, based on... It's also fuzzy since it was so long ago, but I remember us wearing the colors of Arkala as children, but that could be a coincidence.
It's just, if you're from anywhere near here, the most likely reason for wandering is to maintain the protection of Arkala, but I suppose not everybody who moves or wanders does so at Arkala's behest.
We moved to maintain the protection of ourselves.
I suppose that's true. I suppose not everybody was so lucky as I was before that night.
I think that I am very lucky. I have my sister by my side when so many people are alone.
Aww.
I know the paths. I know how to find paths. I know how to keep my blade sharp and not to hold the sharp end. I don't hold track with much in the way of gods, or I don't know about magic, but I know what I feel, and I know how to track using the stars, so I don't find myself wanting for anything, and I certainly don't consider myself to be lacking in anything.
But didn't you ever want to find some place we could call home? I mean, you're my home, but
exactly.
I can't remember. I don't think we're ourselves when we have to stay up all night keeping watch and sleep in snatches, and I don't know, I'm glad you're happy, but I want something more, you know? That's why I read about the gods, because I just like to imagine there's something else out there besides fields of thorns and rivers and cities full of people ready to pick your pocket at any moment. You're not going to pick our pockets, are you? What was your name?
My name is Marius, and no, I have no need to pick pockets. I just have need of the warm fire which you've graciously shared with me.
We should feed you too. You're skinny.
Yeah, your clothes are just falling apart and also look terrible.
Well, I've been running for some time now. Thankfully, the army that destroyed my brethren, thankfully they did not follow, but I was not cut out for a life of wayfaring.
See, but we have to take them with us.
I already said we could, didn't I?
You don't have to look so unhappy about it, though.
This is just my face.
I know, you should work on that.
I was born with this face. My parents gave me this face. Why would I change it?
I promise it will not crack and fall off if you smile once in a while.
That's me laughing.
Tala, you have to give them time. Come on.
But they're already so old.
I know, but time to warm up to us.
Fine.
It's like that baby bird that one time.
Okay. Sure.
But like an old baby bird.
Very old. Like, super old.
I think it's impressive, alright? You don't see many old people in a world like this.
Sable, how old are you?
Why would you ever ask a lady their age?
Should I not?
No.
Oh. But you always said the best way to get information was to ask questions.
There are some questions that are impolite.
Oh.
And some people will answer them anyway. But not me.
Okay.
I think Yvaine might actually be laughing a little bit at that.
I feel like maybe this might be a good place to close it off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So who's currently the night player? We need to roll 2 dice. But after the last story.
I think it's Dora.
Okay. Yeah, so rolling 2d6. And what this roll determines is after the last story, we roll 2 dice to kind of determine how the night watch went. And I rolled a 10, so dawn comes and the night has passed in peace.
Woo!
Great.
Hallelujah.
Go team! Go team!
Mm-hmm.
Alright.
Alright.
So, I'm next. Did we want to do then the caravan guards? Because then we'd be moving. And somebody be the hazard player?
Yeah.
Because we're heading somewhere.